Hello there guys, what is going on? Son of Chelsea back here again for my rational perspective on Chelsea 3, Luton 1. Chelsea through to the next round of the FA Cup quite comfortably. In the end, there were some shaky moments, absolutely, that got you worried, especially with Chelsea's recent form. I feel there are a couple of things to take away from this game majorly is number one, the young players starring, especially in that third goal, but all round, of course, Tammy Abraham, hat-trick, taking home the match ball, man of the match performance. Billy Gilmour looking flawless. Mason Mount with the captain's armband, wonderful sight. I felt he had a good game as well. Callum Hudson-Odoi looking brilliant off the bench, so impactful. It's sort of been the big positive of Lampard's reign so far. It's the young players. It's trusting those players, giving those players opportunities. And those are the ones that time in and out now with Chelsea this season in difficult moments. Those are the ones that are getting us out of trouble. And I think that should be the way going forward. You know, I want to see Billy Gilmour in the Premier League team against Wolves. I want to see Mason obviously there as well. Callum Hudson-Odoi, Tammy Abraham, Reece James, who I felt had a good performance today. All of those players starring, and I think it just says so much that time and time again, these players are the ones you're excited about. They look the most talented. They look the most confident. There's a sense of belief in there that I think Chelsea, and especially Lampard, in a difficult moment, has to look at and try and get something from going into these difficult games against Wolves and Burnley, because of course we always knew today Chelsea likely to win. If we did win, it was about taking what confidence we could into those games against Wolves and Burnley for Lampard, but I felt he was able to get some of that out today, and I think there were some incredible performances on the pitch, especially from Billy Gilmour, who I think should be now in the Premier League team. I also felt the second big thing today was attacking fluidity, getting some confidence and sharpness and potency back into that attack, because it's been lacking inspiration for a while now. I think mainly having Hakim Ziyech and Reece James starting a game for the first time since the 5th of December is massive for Lampard moving forward. We haven't had that, and those two are so key to the way we attack. But I also thought it was interesting how he started with Timo and Tammy almost as a front two. That did change as the game went on, having Pulisic on the left and trying, especially in the case of Timo Werner, is trying to get him in more central roles, or at least off, say, a Tammy Abraham a bit more than shifting him out to a left-wing position where he isn't comfortable, where he isn't going to excel. You need to get him in and around the box where he can maybe make those runs off, say, a main forward, which worked today, I think, especially in the link-up for the first goal. Quick play all round, I think that was good. Even though we did miss chances, and I felt that, say, Christian Pulisic should have scored more goals today. I think he had some brilliant chances to hit the back of the net. I just think it shows you that when you're putting these players out there, I think in sort of an attacking configuration that I think is going to get the best out of more players. And, you know, Chelsea can't sit back. We can't be a reactive team. I know some people have been calling for that, but I think with the attacking talent we have, it's all about Lampard trying to construct the best attack, but also get the most out of them. And hopefully today's performance allowed some of that confidence to get back into the heads of Chelsea players going into that Wolves game. Of course, I felt Tammy was phenomenal. I really do. I think obviously we can caveat all of what we're talking about today with it's Luton, it's the Championship, it's an FA Cup tie. Chelsea are pretty dominant in the game. Wolves is going to be a lot more difficult. Burnley, it's going to be a lot more difficult. But still, it's a game that a lot of players that you expect to play in those Premier League games did feature in. So hopefully they've gained some confidence from it. And I felt Tammy's all-round play today, it wasn't just his goal scoring. I felt the first was a brilliant finish. Great to see Timo using his pace. Hakim Ziyech from a quick throw-in as well. So quick thinking has been lacking in this team for quite a while. Great to see Ziyech doing that, but as well Timo running in behind. Great ball back to Tammy. Tammy is really clinical in the box. If he can get it right and you get him in those positions, he can be really deadly. And that was a brilliant finish. Got us off and running. Reece James crossed into the box for a Tammy Abraham header. Not only benefiting off a Reece cross, but also Tammy getting better in the air. He needs to. He had a header late on that he could have scored from too. If he can, I think those doubts about him aerially, especially if Reece James crosses into the box, hopefully that will improve Tammy's game too. It's 2-0, and I feel that at that point, you were looking at it, this could be 3, 4, 5. This could be a really galvanising performance. But of course, we have the Kepa tax. There are a lot of people you can blame for that goal. I feel that, of course, Zuma, there's questions about Kurt Zuma coming back into the team today. Should he have got closer? But I still feel it's a simple shot. I can't accept that Kepa can't keep that out. It's not an amazing strike. It's not the best strike I've ever seen in my life. I think a good keeper stops that, or at least gets a strong hand to it. Look in the second half as well, considering a one-handed stop, I think it's too poor. And it just once again reflects poorly on Kepa Arrizabalaga, whose value I'm sure is depreciating. Of course, made that save in the second half to stop it being 2-2, but it changes the game. It gives Luton the belief they need to give them some hope that they can get back into this game. And it changed the complexion. It made things a lot more tense. And it shows you the difference between having Edouard Mendy in there, who I know hasn't been flawless recently, but having Kepa Arrizabalaga, and we dealt with a lot of that last season. So that was a difficult moment, but we got through it in the end. I want to talk about Billy Gilmour. Billy Gilmour masterclass today. He was absolutely flawless in the centre of the park for Chelsea. He just adds everything that we're lacking at the moment in that position. It's the blend of progressive passes, which I think are more important with an attack-minded side that Lampard is trying to build than, say, just the mobility and intercepting. But the fact that Billy does a lot of things that I just don't think either Kante, who you want in this team as a world-class talent, but it's always been that difficult sort of balance of getting him into the team, but knowing that you're lacking some passing ability there, progressive passes from deep too. And as well, Jorginho just isn't doing the progressive passes he was before. You know, I feel there are so many times Billy in today's game made that pass that other players have maybe been fearful to make. You know, sometimes it doesn't always come off, but a one-time pass forward or a ball over the top that a Luton player gets to, but then maybe it knocks back down to Tammy Abraham or a Chelsea player to start an attack. It's those sort of visionary and daring passes that, say, Hakim Ziyech can make, but I don't think many players in this team are doing a lot. I feel sometimes it's Mason, sometimes it's, say, Ziyech, but other than that, I don't see Kovacic making those passes a lot of the time. He made a nice one to Timo Werner late on, but most of the time I'm not seeing that from him. And Billy, I just think he's earned his place in the Premier League team. I think it would be nonsensical to see Jorginho at the base of midfield on Wednesday or Kovacic in there for Billy. It doesn't make a lot of sense. I think Billy now deserves to be in this team moving forward because Lampard's problems in midfield, they're so deep now, they're so consistent. I just think try Billy in that midfield. He shined last season in that deeper role against Liverpool and Everton. Until you try him in these games, you're not going to know. It was a bit like Tammy Abraham. It's a bit like Mason Mount. Until you give young players a chance, you never know. And I want to see Billy in that Premier League team. He's just so silky on the ball. I love the way he constructs and dictates play, how he's always so vocal in the team as well, talking to Christensen, talking to Zuma when they have the ball, talking to other players, trying to move the ball around, always looking to have the ball to his feet as a passing option to other players, sometimes under pressure. I just think there's a maturity to Gilmour's game that we want to sort of exploit a bit more in this team. He's got a bright future and absolutely, once again, should be starting against Wolves. And yeah, I thought Tammy was really good. Tammy-Timo connection, I felt worked really well. That third goal was just wonderful, wasn't it? And it showed, once again, the impact of Callum Hudson-Odoi off the bench, especially on that left side. Callum came off the bench like he did against Fulham, and just there was no nonsense. It was like, you know, bit between your teeth, getting in there, trying to make something happen. Our sort of final third passing for a large period of that second half really deteriorated through the likes of Pulisic, who looked like he caught a knock maybe early in the second half, but Callum was offering that. And it's those sort of moments that Callum, if he can transition some of that form a bit more into the Premier League when he starts, it's easy to do sometimes off the bench, but I think in games, if he gets that start against Wolves, he needs to be impactful, because as we saw against Leicester, not as impactful. I know obviously he was on the right instead of the left, so maybe seeing him on the left against Wolves could help that. But it was a wonderful goal, and it was constructed right from Cobham, really. Obviously, Billy Gilmour through to Callum Hudson-Odoi, and Billy, as a deep midfielder, pushing up the pitch, getting there for a little 1-2 with Callum Hudson-Odoi, and then into Tammy Abraham for an easy tap in, and that gives him the match ball. And Chelsea through to the next round. Finally, I want to speak about Timo Werner. In the end, it was a difficult day because, of course, everyone will remember him missing that penalty after a really good run. The sort of run you want to see Timo making, and the sort of place we need to get Timo in a lot more. The difference I'm going to say why I think we should keep on absolutely backing Timo is not only the all-round play that he had, you know, setting up Tammy Abraham's first goal. Just all-round, I thought he looked a lot more sharper and confident, especially in all-round play and trying to impact in the final third. But busting a gut, you know, after missing that penalty, you would have seen other players, you know, head gone down, you know, give up for the game, considering how little time there was left. But he keeps on going. He keeps on trying to get himself in the right position. I've seen Morata, I've seen Torres, when they miss big chances in the past, if you want to compare him to them and worry that we're going to go down the same path. those players would just give up in a game. And I don't mean give up in the sense that they're not trying at all. It's just like mentally gone. I don't see that from Timo Werner. I still see a player trying to get into the right positions, trying to put himself in a position where he could miss once again, pressing players down. Sometimes with Morata in the past, he'd just stay offside instantly, breaking down Chelsea attacks, a little bit of lazy and petulance. I'm not seeing that from Timo Werner, which I think is a positive. And when you have the likes of Tammy Abraham firing and Timo still setting him up, I think that's good. So I think Timo deserves credit for still having that mentality to keep going. And I think it's going to turn out okay for him at Chelsea. I think it will. I think once Chelsea all round get more confidence in the team, I see a player there with enough mobility, with enough energy, with enough pace to hurt teams. And I think that finishing will come back once he just gets one goal. He needs one goal, especially in the Premier League, and hopefully saving up for the next few Premier League games where Chelsea need some big wins. But those are my thoughts on today's victory. Let me know yours in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch this video. If you did enjoy it, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you never miss an upload. Also hit that like button because it helps out the channel too. Follow me on Twitter @SonofChelsea, and I'll see you again.